Hi, everybody. You are listening to Embrace the Madness. My name is Madeline. I'm super happy to be here. Welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. If you are brand new, hi. I'm happy to have you here. We just talk about things of the human variety here. Yeah. I like to think the title Embrace the Madness is self-explanatory, but if it's not, it's the clear, blatant madness that occurs around us every day. And the funny thing is, I started this right before the pandemic, and that was before this whole other level of madness even started happening. But yeah, learning how to embrace this kind of inevitable chaos, madness, whatever the F, like we're embracing it because I think that through embracing it and through integrating it, we can actually live happier, healthier lives. I think for me, at least, learning to shift my focus to, how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this versus, being stuck in this toxic and negative loop patterns. I just feel so much better. So I just wanted to start a podcast, start talking about different ways in which I embrace the madness and integrate so that I can share with you what I've learned and maybe some tips for you to also figure out how to embrace the madness. And I think we all have our own unique way of doing so. I just want to inspire you to figure out yours. So let's see. Yeah, I had kind of taken a hiatus, had and I came back and I feel like I always kind of like go in and out, but that could just be my flow. And I've been wanting to do a podcast lately and I've got like a running list of topics, but I'm just learning about myself and my flow. And sometimes I'm in the mood to talk about stuff, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I don't want to create any content. Sometimes I just start creating a bunch. And that's something I'm trying to work out with TikTok too, because like I work my best and record my best videos, or I feel most comfortable when I'm completely alone. And I don't always have the privilege of having complete alone time. So I'm just working with that, working with my energy. There's just like a lot, there's a lot going on, but I'm trying to figure out what consistency means to me. And I actually heard a really cool way someone put it was it's not necessarily like posting every day, but it's just showing up to your process, like not giving up on whatever it is you are doing. And I think that's a very powerful reframe because I judge myself all the time. Like even I don't know if y'all remember, but when I first started the podcast, I was like, well, you have to do it every week. And there's no there's no other way. It definitely has to be this way. And like it's just not human to be able to show up every single day. Like we just have so much that comes in and out of our lives. We've got shit to do. Like I think consistency is definitely something you can work towards and figure out kind of how to master. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's not our human nature. I think a lot of discipline and a lot of intention have to be incorporated in order to build consistency. And they also make like really cool posting apps, whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point, but I wanted to come talk to y'all about this podcast topic. I kind of shared a little bit on Facebook, but I am starting my business and I am still in the very early baby stages, but it's happening. And I think that all the reasons that I want to do it and all the reasons that inspire me are all the reasons that I'm doing it. So the title is called Starting a Podcast, Trusting Your God Bless. Starting a business, trusting your vision, and changing the world. And that all sounds kind of hefty if you sit down and think about it. I think I never really thought myself to be an entrepreneur. I just never ever thought that this would be happening. And I think that I just grew up always thinking that I had to work a 9 to 5, do a career job. When I was in school, I was on track to finish my undergrad in psychology and look for grad programs. I kind of was just like, okay, well, I guess the next step is PhD school. And I just didn't really vibe with that. And so, really, like, stepping away from that academic path was kind of a lot. And when you think, I guess, like, if you aren't from an entrepreneurial background, or I don't think I ever really had anybody around me that I knew had started their own business or was doing anything like that. I think in my brain, I only thought your option was to be an employee. And yeah, as I'm getting older and learning more about the world and myself, I realize no, you don't have to be an employee. And I think as we begin to kind of put the microscope on society and what conditioning we've kind of experienced over the last 150 years, whatever, we definitely have been conditioned to believe, yeah, you can work this awesome 9 to 5. It's a salary job, 100% security. Like, you get all your insurance, you get all your stuff, you get paid bi-weekly, blah, 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 blah. And that was that. And I think a big thing too that I had kind of inherited or believed to be true is like, oh, well, you're not always going to enjoy the work you do, but that's work, like, so be it, blah, blah, blah. And I think as I have gotten to where I am now, I'm like, what the heck? That it just doesn't make sense for me personally. And as I get to know myself and understand myself, I just realize I'm definitely not a 9 to 5 person. The jobs I had most, and that could be because I wasn't really conditioned, but I really only ever had restaurant jobs. And those are not 9 to 5. I mean, you could work the morning shift, and sometimes when I worked manager shifts in the morning, yeah, it would be like a 9 to 5 esque role. But I've never really known myself to be like a desk person. I really was academically oriented. So it is kind of surprising because I thrived kind of in that structure and I'm not really sure. But as I've gotten older, it just doesn't interest me to sit at a desk, work a salary job. I mean, I think yes, on the logical rational side of things, having a salary would be awesome. Having guaranteed money would be awesome. I think we all are kind of in that boat. Like, if I don't have to worry about money, I can worry about other things. And I think that's definitely a privilege to be able to even think that way about money. But society makes it hard for that stability to happen if you're not working a 9 to 5, or at least society makes us feel that way. I think I've definitely gotten kind of like burned in my brain that working anything but a 9 to 5, like doing contract work or 1099 work or creative work, especially, like, that does not equal security. That equals uncertainty. And I think that our natural brain response to uncertainty is like, let me move away. Let me move closer to security so I can make sure I'm safe. I can make sure my family's safe. I can make sure Everything's going to be okay. Well, I just, I don't know if I'm just stubborn, but like, why? Why, why can't we find stability through our creative projects? Why can't we? Why? And I don't even know if these questions have answers. I think that this is just kind of like my response to waking up to this idea. Like, and, and I really do think as I started this podcast right before the pandemic, so 2019. I also started DJing and both of those things have kind of entailed like building this brand, like and essentially two separate brands. I think as I get down the road, like integrating these brands would be fucking sweet. But for now, I've just been kind of separately building these two brands. And I've always just thought, like, wouldn't it be cool if I could figure out how to monetize this? And I think, like, the first thing that pops up is like, well, you can't really get paid for your creative projects. And I'm not saying that's true because there are so many people around us who are proving it to be true, who are getting paid for their art, who are getting paid to creatively express themselves. And I think definitely like as time goes on, like I get paid to DJ now. I get paid to do my creative projects. Like that's fucking sweet. And I think over time, with experience and learning and things like that, like we do have that power. We can monetize our creative gifts, our creative expressions. It's just we're not really like taught from the get-go that that is possible. And I don't really know where I was going with that. I'm actually just freestyling. I just turned on the microphone and started talking. But yeah, starting a business. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess with all that, I just knew I just wasn't the type of person who wanted to work a 9 to 5. And I don't know if it's like because I have a Saturn in Aquarius and I'm just like, fuck the norm, but I just like to me, I'm like, even financial security wouldn't make me want to go do that. And I very well, it could be my stubborn side talking. And that's a big thing that Davis and I kind of had to talk about more than once. Like, well, if you're not going to get a 9 to 5, how are you going to contribute to, the household, the family? And like at that point, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you don't know, but it's like I know deep in my soul and my heart that I'm just not a desk girl. I mean, I'm sitting at a desk right now, but yeah, something about it. And I've definitely gotten backlash from family. And that's also scary because the last thing we want to do as a biological being is get cut off from, safety, our family, from resources, from things like that. And so being able to stand up for myself and hold what I believe to be true has been challenging to say the least. But I just keep coming back to this idea of like, I'm meant for something more. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm meant for something more. And I think that, I look at Matto and I'm like, oh, well, cool. I get paid to do gigs, blah, blah, blah. But if you've ever been a performing artist or musician, you know that it's also challenging to completely sustain yourself off of gigs. And like, I would literally have to play like, and I'm not saying it's not doable because there are people who are badass, freaking hustling ass people. I'm thinking specifically of DJ Alpha Whiskey. She's just the epitome of fucking badass. But like, for me in my personal life, I would at least have to play 10 or more gigs, probably 10 to 15 minimum gigs per month to be able to cover my uh, expenses. And it's not impossible, but is it sustainable? And that's what I keep coming back to. Like, I want to find something that is sustainable, that's fun, that is flexible, all these different things. And I just look at all the job postings and I'm like, it just doesn't, it just doesn't cut it. Like, it just doesn't feel like me. And I know, like, they, since we came out of the womb, they're like, oh, yeah, well, work's not supposed to be fun. Work's not supposed to be easy. Work's not supposed to be blah, blah, blah. And like, I just think that is so, it, it doesn't have to be true. Why, why, who even said that? Like, and I guess at this point, it doesn't really matter who or why or when. Like, the truth of the matter is that somebody said it, and now there's like a whole generation of us who believe that we can't have fun. We can't get paid to have fun. We can't get paid doing what we love. Like, all of these fucked up, like, beliefs. And I really, really, really feel like I'm here to help prove all of those beliefs wrong. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That shit does not. Why? Like, why would we be on this earth to be miserable? I don't believe, and this could also get into a matter of, what you believe about your higher power or existence, but like, I don't believe that we were put on this earth to be a cog in the machine, to be just these people, these little worker bees who don't have an identity, who I just see through it, and 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 just this like attachment to consumerism, and like, hey, if you just work this job, if you just like spend 40 hours of your life, I'll give you this paycheck so you can like have, enough money for groceries and maybe a nice dinner or something once a month, or I'll give you 2 weeks off so you can go on vacation and then back to work. Like, that works for some people, and this is not to offend anyone who loves what they fucking do. They love their schedule. Like, that's great. I'm not that kind of person. And I really feel like there's a whole bunch of us out there who aren't those kind of people. And I don't think there's anything wrong. There's no better or less than. It just, the truth of the matter is some personalities are not made for that. And I really, really believe wholeheartedly that we are in this time of shifting. Everything seems to be kind of crumbling around us in terms of, governmental structures, society norms, societal norms, whatever. Just all of these weird things that have just been for so long are like collapsing. And I really truly believe that we are moving into a time that is going to honor and kind of bring forward this new era of consciousness, this new era of self-awareness, this new era of community, of healing. I just really feel like this newness energy is, it's so hard to explain it in words because it's just a feeling. And I think that sometimes feelings are hard to describe with words because, you know, I just think it's like a different, feelings are felt, it's not like you can just like logically understand feelings sometimes. I'm also realizing I think I'm clair sentient, which is like really, really sensitive to feeling. And that's like besides the point, but but just the feelings. And I guess I say all this because I just really feel like all of this combined with my stubbornness or my just complete desire for something else, I feel like they're correlated. I feel like they're like this. I feel like they're supposed to go together, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And like I said, I have no idea what the fuck this looks like. And it's so funny to think because, I mean, I joke and say I'm a recovering perfectionist, but if you've listened to my podcast since the beginning, like, I've had this incredibly challenging journey with perfectionism. And it's funny, just like I know, like a previous version of me would not have been cool with baby steps and with taking little bits of action and making these decisions without, finding like the grounded truth. And I'm just kind of moving past that. Like I'm getting to this place where I trust myself and I'm beginning to trust my vision and trust that, along the way I've managed to do so many things and I didn't ever really know exactly what they were going to look like from point A to point Z. And I think that's special because for so many of us, like, we're kind of trapped by this fear of, well, I don't really know what's going to happen. And because I don't know, like, that's really scary. And what if I fail? Or what if I get rejected? Or what if I die? Like, there's so many fears and this uncertainty. It just, yeah. And I definitely want to do a different podcast episode about baby steps, but I'm just in this place of really trusting my vision. And I want you to know that it's okay too, because like all you have to do is trust yourself and trust your vision. And I know that's a lot easier said than done. And it's taken me many years to be able to get to this level of self trust and, yeah, self trust. But it really is the magical piece of the puzzle. And I think that I have so many fears about starting a business, about, creating something to sell, because I think that everyone's going to think I'm dumb. Everyone's going to look at me and say, "Are you serious?" Everyone's going to think, "What the fuck is she doing? Who does she think she is?" how does she think she can do this? Why does she think she's different? You know, all of these fears come up, and like I have fears too. I have so many fears. But coming back to this piece of self-trust is like I trust myself to make it through to the other side. I trust myself to work through this fear because I've done it so many times. I've worked through fears so many times. I was scared shitless for my very first DJ set. I literally practiced my set like I had it like I knew the exact order everything was going to be played. It was like clockwork. I recorded my performance 3 separate times to like figure out to make sure it was perfect. But like shit like that, like I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I'm capable of greatness. And I know from experience that I am strong enough to work through my fears. And really also what I'm learning is like when you're so connected to your vision, you figure it out. You make it past these fears to where you're like, I got this. I trust myself. Like there's no other way to go about it. I trust myself, and I know this is going to be challenging or different or new or uncertain, but I really deeply trust myself. And that's really what I've been coming back to. And like, even though all those fears that I listed about starting my business and doing all these things is like, I trust myself to make it through. And that even goes to like, I don't even know the extent of what it's about to be. But I know that I trust myself, and I know that I've managed to create lots of cool things. Like I didn't know how Embrace the Madness was going to evolve. Like before I started having guests on the podcast, I didn't know. Like I've gotten to have so many cool conversations with friends like about life and their story and their kind of way of embracing the madness, you know, and like different stuff like that. And I mean, same with Matto. Like if you told me 3 years ago that I would be on the same lineup as AT Aliens, Troy Boy, like shit like that. Like, I would not believe you. And it's happening. And like, I had no idea any, any of that, like when I started. But I've managed to trust my vision and trust that when I'm aligned with what values I have, like sharing love with others and expressing myself and practicing being in this authentic space, like I know that as long as I continue forward and continue honoring my values, that it's just gonna work out. And like that's the cool thing too I've learned about as I've deepened my spirituality is like we can't know as humans. We don't have the same capacity of consciousness as humans. Um Compared to like, you know, source energy, that universal and infinite energy. We don't have the same capacity of knowing the way it does. And so it's been really cool to trust that by trusting my vision that pure magic will happen. And I mean, like, literally, that's what's been happening. And even though I have all of these fears about, you know, what if no one buys anything? What if people think I'm dumb? I know, and I'm reminding myself that I am protected and that I am being guided, and that just the way Motto has kind of unfolded, that anything I pursue and give energy to and put my heart and soul into is going to turn out fucking fantastic. And it really does all go back to this idea of self-trust. And I definitely have my days where I don't always trust myself and I don't always stay kind of in that grounded mindset. But for the majority, and that's kind of bringing back the whole consistency thing too, is like I don't have to show up perfect every day, but staying committed to my vision and my truth that's consistent. And that is, I think that's what propels us forward. And let's see. I guess we can talk about changing the world too. Like, kind of going back to this idea that these structures as we know it are kind of crumbling, and we're not really sure what the government or the economy is going to look like in the next couple of years. Who knows? Like, literally nobody fucking knows. But I really do believe in my heart that we are moving towards building a new world. And I could be wrong. Like, literally, we could get hit by a meteor tomorrow. And I could be wrong, and that's okay. But I'm just sharing what I believe to be true and what my heart shares with me and things like that. But I really do believe that we get to be a part of this new world, this new earth. And I know it seems kind of like trendy to talk about, and it could be trendy because I mean it does feel imminent, and like we are moving into building a new whatever the fuck. But like I said, I'm just sharing authentically. I'm just sharing what came from my heart, comes from my heart, and sharing with you. And I really believe that by starting my own business, I can help create new structures from kind of this lens that I want to view the world. And I think that by me working jobs and most definitely working in the service industry, but like working these jobs has given me these instances where, you know, I wasn't valued as an employee, or I wasn't paid fairly, or things like that. And I think that we have so much room to grow. I mean, you hear of all these horror stories, like people working jobs and just overworked, underpaid, not valued, all these things. And like one of my biggest missions in starting a business is to create like this equity and this power back for people. Like there are people who want to be valued, and they want to come work a job where they get paid fairly, they get treated with respect, they don't have to deal with harassment, they don't have to deal with prejudice, like they don't have to deal with any shit, because they, just by being themselves and just by being human, deserve to be loved and deserve respect. And like I can't wait to be able to pay people fairly and help people feel valued and really contribute to meaningful work. I think that even just knowing me as a person, I want to help people and I want people to heal. I want people to know that they are awesome and worthy no matter what. Like, even if they have gone through horrendous trauma, or feeling unloved. Like each one of us deserves love and respect. And I just want to be able to share that with others. I really do think that we are moving into this new era of love and kindness. And I've literally my whole entire life been like, oh, well, I'm not really good at anything. I don't have any of these skills. Skills being shit on a resume for like corporate jobs. But like, I've always had these skills of kindness and compassion and listening and helping and hearing others. And what better way to give back to the earth and to the world and to humanity than to help others like feel their best selves. Like who doesn't want that? And that's not a rhetorical question. Like if you don't want that, I just want to know so I know that somebody doesn't want that. But it's taken me so long to realize that like no, all of these things that you have are valuable and they're needed. And just because it's not the norm now doesn't mean it can't be. And it's also something I think about too, like maybe these structures and this way of being has to come to an end so this new energy can come in. Does that make sense? And a lot of you might be like, what the heck is she talking about? And that's okay. That's okay. I think that the whole entire message, if you take anything from this, is trusting your vision and trusting yourself. Because I think that we are here to truly get to know ourselves and truly understand who we are, who we were born to be, so that we can operate from this place of love and kindness and self-respect and self-trust and and I think that all of these things help us be better in community. I think that when we can get to this place of being able to take care of and honor ourselves, that we can move out of the space of fear and start looking through a lens of love and start, embracing our community and working together and finding solutions. And it gets me really excited to talk about this stuff. And it's literally taken me so many days, so many weeks and months and even maybe years to get to this point. I used to gaslight myself all the time. I mean, I probably still do, but I was born to be sensitive. I was born to care too much. I was born to be passionate. Like I was born to be all of these things and like I have to share them. I have to it's just it doesn't nothing else makes any more sense than I have to share my gifts that I was born with because the world needs them. And I'm like slightly getting on the emotional side. I'm not crying yet, but it just makes me so happy to be able to share this and share my heart. And we're starting a business, baby. But yeah, so I'm working on, and I also want to do a new podcast on this too, but astrology has been such a godsend, a big help. It's like a toolkit, a map for me to understand myself and understand how I kind of operate and things like that. And so I'm working on creating an offer of kind of this personalized astrology report. I think I'm going to have like, you can do a basic one or you can do your full because, and I'll get into this whenever I do the podcast, but you're not just your sun sign. You're not just your main zodiac sign. You actually kind of have this whole well-rounded profile and each planet and sign kind of has its own energy and its own themes. And I think that they basically the whole thing with astrology is there's a picture, a metaphorical picture of the sky when you were born. I mean, there might be a literal picture, but it's like a map. They look at all the constellations and the stars and the planets and things at the moment you were born, and it paints a picture. It's kind of like this map, and the system that has been used since, you know, nearly the dawn of humanity really helps to kind of unlock a lot of these qualities about us and tendencies and patterns, and it's fucking cool. But I'm definitely going to get into one of those, but I just wanted to share a little bit about the offer that I'm working on. And if you saw on the internet, I'm also offering one-on-one coaching, consulting. I I've I've really honed in on these kind of topics that I love: creativity, reworking your mindset, building confidence, things like that. Really tapping into our highest potential and who we were born to be. And I literally was lost before I figured all that out. And I'm not saying that I figured everything out about myself and the world, but I feel a hell of a lot more prepared after learning about myself, especially through astrology and human design and all of these things. But I just want to share that with others because I really do think that when we get to know ourselves and who we are and who we were born to be, and we just have this deep sense of knowing, and it's from there we can grow, baby. My coffee machine's beeping. And I think that's about all I have to share today. Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode. I purely just channeled all of that, and that was sick. Yes, I'm starting a business. And if you align with all of these things that I shared, with helping the world grow, with helping humanity kind of take that next level, then please message me, DM me on Instagram at embrace the madness underscore. You can also, I'm trying to get my new website back up, and I will definitely let y'all know as soon as that's ready. But I love you so much, and I know that you are here to do great things, and I can't wait to see what you create. This is Madeline. I will talk to you later. You've been listening to Embrace the Madness, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.